Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in, broadside, in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride!" Well, nobody that I've ever met, or that I anticipate ever meeting, measures up to that ideal as well as this man. This is Sci Swan. You've seen him on the channel. He's been my blacksmith mentor and close personal friend since 2005, I think. He is, by whatever yardstick you want to measure him, a Renaissance man extraordinaire. And it's my pleasure to be able to give you a little more in-depth look into some of the complexities of the last 89 years of his life and the last 20 years that it's been my blessing to share it. Sci, welcome to the shop. So let me ask you this, Sci. How many major reconstructive surgeries do you want to own to right here with the whole world watching? Last I knew it was 16.
Well, but major, that doesn't count cataracts and doesn't count stuff like that, but it's over 20.
He's had over 20 reconstructive surgeries. Broken feet, broken bones, shotgun blasts through his hand. That's almost worth a story right there. We'll get to that maybe. How many people do you know that have been under the knife to get put together that many times and are still kicking? How many people do you know have had that many surgeries?
None that are still alive.
Yeah, that's why you're so surprised to be alive at 89, right?
Yeah.
So why and how do you keep going now? You're 89, you got a knife business, a thriving knife business. Why and how do you keep going? Because it hurts. You've told me you got neuropathy in your feet, your neck is just a mess. The doctors tell you they can't do anything about these wrists. You can just see looking at them, your shoulders have bumps where they shouldn't have bumps. Why and how do you keep going?
What else are you going to do?
So it's work that appeals to you.
It's work, and it's the creation of things that the work brings. Mm-hmm. We conceive an idea, and then we have to work out the parameters that bring this to a finished product. And
the tools we have, the materials we have, the skills we have, the people we know, all part of it, right?
yes, and the people we know are a big part of it.
Isn't that the truth?
Because, nobody knows it all. I don't care who you are. Mm-mm. And to be able to go to a friend and say, "Hey, I've seen you do this. How do I make it happen?"
Yeah. You're 89, and I know the long list of things you've done for a living. Cowboying, guiding dudes when you were a teenager, logging when you were young, back to cowboying, heavy equipment operator, developing real estate. We've talked about building that lake, developing the lots, moving to Oregon, machine work, building hot rods. What have I left out? Things that you have done, not your passion so much as the things you've done to support your family.
Well, the knife business for the last few years has been my really major source of support.
So blacksmithing kicked in seriously 30 years ago?
Yeah.
And then it was 8 or 9 years ago that the knife making went from for your friends and family and neighbors to boom, all over the world.
Right.
Okay. Good job for an old man.
Good job for an old man, because I can still do it. And that new air hammer that I bought a couple years ago is key.
Yeah.
I can put a blade on edge that's 3/16 of an inch wide and point it.
You can bring the point down.
Right down to a point.
Wow.
And keep it from buckling, which is hard.
It is hard. I want to go back to these injuries.
Okay.
How did you hurt yourself? Give us a little list of some of the wrecks you've had that resulted in your body getting pretty beat up. Just talk to us a little bit about some of these catastrophes.
Well, the first time I really tore up my leg, I always overskied my ability.
Downhill skier.
And I was skiing one spring day when it was freezing cold and the ice had reformed on the snow. I caught an edge and I twisted my left leg off right above the ski boot and ended up with my ski pointing backwards when I quit rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And it had broke both bones
Just spun him.
about that far above my ankle.
Mm-hmm. That left leg.
Yep, and there wasn't anything over about an inch long.
Wow, blew him up.
Yeah. And the doctor up there was, get this, drilling by hand with a
little bracing bit.
Yeah. And saying, you've got the hardest bones I've ever seen. And that's why it blew up.
Yeah.
It didn't just break, it shattered. But he put pins through it, and one through my knee, and then he put a cast on that was full length up to my crotch. And
you were cowboying at the time.
I was cowboying. I roped calves all spring.
For Chester.
Well, for the other neighbors too.
Oh, yeah.
And
With the cast on, you roped
with
calves.
a cast on. I baled hay. I did everything, and I banged it around so much I got infected in the upper pin, and I had to go back up there.
Because it started stinking.
Yeah, my dad said, you really smell bad, and it was starting to ooze out the pinhole. Well, if I almost got osteomyelitis, and it took quite a while and a lot of penicillin to clean it up.
To beat that back.
They took that off, and they go through a couple times a day and squirt water through that hole and wash that all out. And then he took a knife and cut all the dead meat away. And
So that healed up.
yeah,
Straddle a horse, didn't matter. Hanging out there,
hanging out.
flopping around.
I built fence in the mountains.
That's funny. All right, what was your next catastrophe? So, I mean, young men break their leg, but young men don't keep riding and branding and that. But
Well,
so what was next?
Hell, I don't even remember. I had several bad car wrecks.
Yeah, because you were building Model Ts into hot rods.
Yeah, but I had a 36 Ford that had a real hot Merc engine in it too, and I wrapped it around a tree.
With a friend in there.
Yes. And neither one of us got hurt.
No seat belts involved.
Oh, we didn't even think.
Didn't know what one was.
Didn't have them.
No.
But I was doing about 100 when I hit this corner, and I didn't make the corner, and it launched itself, and we hit the tree probably 6 feet off the ground with the top of the car. But that's,
So you were beat up. You were beat up from that.
Not really.
Okay.
I was pretty durable, Scott. I didn't really break much until I got to really cowboying, and then it was mostly fingers and little things and
Toes. Now, but that was mostly when you were working for Chester, or after you come up here and you bought the ranches and you started raising 500,000 pounds of beef a year?
all during.
Yeah.
But I ranched there in California too. We had cattle and went to the mountains, of course, there, and I was riding colts and I got bucked up, but I was pretty durable. I didn't break anything more for quite a long time.
Was you sliding off the roof the next one when that tar paper let you go?
I broke that ankle again when that happened.
Oh, same ankle.
And it blew up this
Boom.
time, right through the calcaneus, went right up through the tibia and blew it all apart. And the
You were in your 40s.
yeah, somewhere in there. Doc says, I'm not going to make a good joint out of this. It's probably going to bother you, but he did a really good job, and it hasn't. It gets stiff once in a while, and that leg swells. It's compromised.
Yeah.
It's been a good leg. It hasn't bothered me. I ran thousands of miles on it.
Because you ran 30 miles a week till you were 50 years old. Is that right? Something like that?
I don't know when I stopped, but I ran.
I think it was around there.
Right at 1,000 miles a year.
1,000 miles a year. So since I've been around, I remember shoulder wrecks. A horse wreck, teaching a horse to drive, and she backed you over the side of the road, and how did that go?
Well, my friend Bill Neal always told me I should carry a whip when I'm driving, and I ignored him. And to my chagrin, I'm teaching this young, well, not too young, mare to drive, and she started running backwards on me.
Is it a two-wheel cart or a four-wheel
It's a
cart?
two-wheel cart.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, what do you do when a horse runs backwards? You can't pull in the reins because you're just telling them to back up.
Yeah, and you can't talk them into going forward.
And she made a turn, and unfortunately, she dumped us in a hole.
You and Maxine,
No, just me.
just you.
And I hit a culvert
The end of the culvert sticking out of the road,
right on this shoulder.
right there.
And it dislocated my shoulder. But I didn't realize it. It also broke the shoulder right off under the joint. And they x-rayed it, and then they put me out and put the shoulder back in. And that doctor that was worried about my pulse all the time did an x-ray sometime later and said, "When did you break your arm?" And I said, "Well, I haven't broke that one." And he said, "Yes, you have. It broke right under the
Socket.
socket." And he showed me the line, and sure enough.
Was that the one where you tore the tendon and stuff loose and they sucked back in and atrophied on you?
No, that's happened several times. It's happened so many times. I've broken this chromium clavicular joint probably 4 times on this side, because when you fall or get thrown, you tend to land on your shoulder,
Yeah.
and it snaps that joint, and it makes this bone stick.
Yeah. We may get a picture of that. He's got a lump right
The
there.
other one's bigger.
Yeah, can you see that? Yeah, it sticks up there in a very abnormal way.
I can't hardly get my suspenders off.
Keep your suspenders on. All right, so
Anyhow, then another time, I was driving 4 up for Bill Neal.
four mules.
And when they'd hitched the mules up, somebody hadn't put the pin in that holds the leaders to the front of the tongue right. And I've got a whole bunch of Bill's friends in the wagon, and I come around this corner. Well, the DoubleTree hit the leaders in the hocks, and they jumped. And my normal reaction was to set back on the lines and say, "Whoa." Well, I had 3,000 pounds of mules in a dead run, and they just took me and flipped me out of the wagon.
Because they come unhooked from the wagon and they're running away, and you've got your hands
Well,
on
I
those
had
reins.
my feet braced against the thing, and it just catapulted me. I went clear over the wheelers.
So there's a pair of mules right up next to you, the wheelers. The leaders are pulling you head first over, and you went over the front of the wheelers and landed in front of them.
My last conscious thought was, this is going to hurt. And I landed on this shoulder and really, really tore it up.
Yeah.
And I had the cat up there in Eugene. I stayed at Bill's that night. Maxine was up there with me. And I went out the next morning and I started the cat. And I went about 30 feet and I shut the cat off. And I went home.
It's a great question, even if we kind of glossed it. What does work mean to you? Now, we've talked about the compulsion to make and create, but that's a little different than just the work. You're compelled to work. What has the role been of work in your life?
I don't know, Scott. It's why I get up in the morning.
Yeah.
It's what motivates me. I never have had a job where I felt, oh God, I hate to go to work today. Mm-hmm. I had a job, I had something to do where I felt, let's go get them, you know? Let's go butcher a bunch of trees today. Let's go build this. Let's go do this. I never had any trouble getting out of bed.
So let me ask you this. I can relate to that. Okay.
Well, I know you can.
Productivity. Sometimes I wonder if we went too far in that direction, where the value of our day was only measured in how much we produced. Do you see that as somehow being something that should have been balanced a little differently?
I think my family probably suffered a little bit as a result of it. I watch my grandson now with his family, and I wasn't as good a dad as he is.
Yeah.
I changed one diaper out of 3 children.
Yeah.
He takes care of those babies,
Beautifully.
and they're just attached to his arm. He doesn't care what he's doing. He's got a kid right here. The little girl's just sitting there, and no matter what he's doing, she's just part of it. And the same was with the little boy when he was little. He changes their diapers. He takes care of them. He's a very involved parent.
So we missed a little bit of a boat ride right there, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes.
And I didn't even know I was missing
Didn't
it.
even know it was there to miss. Yeah.
But my son was a better dad than I was.
Yeah. Aaron was tuned into that.
Right. He's not probably quite, he wasn't quite as much as his son is.
Yeah.
But he's a better grandfather now, and he takes care of those babies.
Yeah.
The big, tall,
Big, tall.
big
Aaron's
guy.
big. So Sci's son, Aaron, is 6'4". How tall?
Yeah.
He's 6'4". He's lost weight now to where he's 200 pounds or 190. He's lean, and he's an all-around guy. Now, part of that was you came to maturity at a time when there was no social safety net. There was nothing in your upbringing or makeup that conceived of someone else taking responsibility for your well-being or your family's well-being. Ever. And I'm not saying that...
And not only that, we didn't have all this OSHA safety stuff.
Yep.
You went to the woods, nobody told you to put earplugs in. Nobody put shaps on you. Nobody even made you wear a damn hard hat.
Yeah. Yep.
My partner that I cut with, I heard he
Ralph?
Ralph.
Yeah.
His saw go dead one morning, and after 20 minutes or so, I thought, well, what's going on? I wandered over to where he was, and he was just waking up. And he had a patch of scalp hanging down over one ear, and it was about 2.5, 3 inches wide. And he'd caught a limb, or a limb had caught him. And
A
just
limb coming out of the
peeled-
tree.
Just peeled him.
Yeah.
And he said, well, can you finish out the day? I need to go to town and get this sewed back on. He got in the truck and went to town.
Yeah.
I mean,
So Aaron and me, I'm 7 years older than Aaron. We came of age in a little gentler time.
but not much.
Not much. We still learned to work, but there was an opportunity to learn more about the time that it could take to be a better dad and a better granddad. There was a little more wiggle room in the life, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little. And
little.
now there's more.
Yeah. Now there's
But
now there's more.
these people now, they have a job.
They have a job.
The eagle shits every 2 weeks.
Boom, steady. Boom, boom, boom. And if they're sick, they can call in sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All we ever knew was if we were too sick to work, the money was stopped. The money stopped.
I don't ever remember being too sick to work.
How about if you were too broke up? That didn't happen often.
No, I've gone to work pretty sore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I was pretty green. We had a log laying across another log, and it was probably 40 or 50 feet of it out in the air.
Hanging out, cantilevered out.
Yep. And we were working a Forest Service job, and you had to cut it to 8 inches. So I limbed it all out. I got my tape, and I measured it out, and then I got to where I thought it was about 8 inches. Put a little cut underneath it and reached over my saw and cut it off.
1 second, we got to set the stage. So he's walked out that log, taking the limbs off while it's sticking out in the air. So now you're 25 feet off the ground out
Just
there.
about,
You're
yeah.
out there on an 8-inch log, and every time you buck a limb off, it quivers, and you got to keep the balance. And now you got to cut off 700 pounds of top that's going to whiplash that thing. Go ahead.
Well, I did exactly that. It launched me up in the air. And I landed in a bunch of snow brush. Well,
Your saw landed somewhere else.
yeah, but it was close. I didn't have to go far to pick it up. I picked it up, thought, boy, I go back and I finished bucking up my log, and I thought, I got away with that. Nobody saw that stupid. The guy in the landing that night says, boy, that was a pretty swan dive you did out there.
So now I'm going to fast forward to something that we may or may not otherwise be able to talk about. So when you were in your 40s or 50s and hang gliding was not safe, you had to have a hang glider.
Yes.
So Cy did some hang gliding out in his part of the county, like a lot. And one particular day, if I have the story right, your son's second grade class was going to come out and watch Mr.
No,
Swan.
my daughter's.
Shannon's second grade class. First grade class was going to come out and watch Mr. Swan hang glide because it was a novelty, right? This was before you had parachutes with your kite or anything, right?
No parachute.
No. So he comes in after this big, long, circuitous trip, and he's just right over the kids, and you stalled it somehow.
No, the wind, I probably had the best ride I'd had off that mountain. And because I got a lot of lift, and I had probably 800 to 1,000 feet more when I usually would come down to the landing spot.
So you're coming down to a field to land.
So I just took off and I went out over the woods there and across the road. And when I turned, all of a sudden I'm bucking the wind and I'm not getting lift. I'm running into a pretty hard headwind. And I'm going down pretty darn fast.
Losing altitude, but still under control.
Oh yeah, I'm under control. And I can see I'm not going to make it to the field. So there was a gap in the trees. Wasn't quite wide enough for the kite.
As it turned out.
But I headed for the gap, and I hit that tree probably about 60 feet off the ground.
Kite's coming in, clips the tree, you're 60 feet off the ground, and things go bad.
It folds up a wing.
And your daughter's first grade class is watching Mr. Swan come in for a landing.
They made pictures of it. I got pictures of it.
Oh, the kids drew pictures?
Right.
Okay. And so the wing folds up and?
And I come straight down, and I
through the tree.
Coming down through the tree and getting cut up a little bit on the fence, but nothing bad.
But fell 50 to 60 feet, tied your kite.
Yeah, it wasn't a straight fall.
No, it was bouncing off the limbs.
Right.
And the barbed wire fence caught you at the end.
Yeah.
So.
Scratched me up a little. My father and I had a wonderful relationship. He was a good father, tried to teach me things, put things in my way to do. In all probability is the reason I like to work. Because he worked all the time.
Instilled that.
Huh?
He instilled that by his example.
But it wasn't a thumb screw deal.
No, it was by his example.
Right. He was so mad at me when I bought that hang glider and was flying because people were dying every day.
Yes. And you were how old?
Oh, I don't remember.
Mid-40s.
Maybe, yeah, probably about.
And so he was in his late 60s.
Yeah.
He was my age. And you had 3 little kids and a hard-working wife, and he bought a hang glider. Why would he be mad?
Scott, I had this obsession with flying forever.
Yeah.
I used to dream that I could fly, just fly. And I built airplanes, and I built airplanes, and I built airplanes, and I built kites, and anything that I could get in the air. And I built some monstrous kites. I mean, monstrous things.
And finally you got one big enough to ride.
Right. And I always thought if I could just build a little bigger one, I could get up in this thing.
So how mad was he, and what did he say?
I have never seen anything so irresponsible in my life. I've told you about responsibility. This is a man that rarely ever raised his voice.
Yeah. He was a gentle soul.
He was. He was a very gentle soul.
What matters to you now versus in your younger years? You inventory the things that matter to you the most now and try to remember what mattered to you the most in your younger years. Have they changed?
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
I think at one time my ranch mattered probably more to me than anything.
Anything. Yep.
Family, anything.
Yep.
It was prime focus.
Yeah.
Not that my family didn't matter, but I don't know now how I would be if I had to do it all over again. But I am way, way more focused on the people that are around me now.
The relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have good friends.
A lot of them.
I have stellar friends.
Yeah.
I have young people that I help learn things. And this is a little bit of a compulsion because I had so much talent around me when I was young that poured this into me, that showed me, that didn't stint. When I went to work in the garage at 16, there was a guy named Adolph Sutherland there. He could do anything.
Do anything, fix anything, make anything. Was he the guy that made the concrete block plant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a heart attack and he left the garage there where we were working, and it took him a couple years to recover, and they hired him at this cement block factory to be a maintenance man, and all of a sudden he automated it for him, and then he went down and automated the rest of there. Arrow Rock was the name of the outfit. He automated 2 or 3 plants for him, and they were making, instead of one single, set it on a pallet, he had them making them by the dozen.
Gosh.
And
a brilliant man.
yeah,
And
third grade education. No, he could read and write, but
He could figure.
right.
And I'll always have this image that you shared with me when you were working in the shop with him. You were 16, he was 42, 43, 38.
Yeah.
You two get into a tussle, and pretty soon you're both out rolling in the parking lot, wrestling your way through an argument or a disagreement, or just for fun.
Well, it was for fun, but I used to take his damn Lucky Strike cigarettes, and I'd crush him up in a ball. He'd peek at him on his toolbox, a rollaway toolbox, and I'd grab those things and I'd smash him up and I'd throw them in the trash. And he'd tackle me, and out in the yard would go. And anybody that looked would think we were trying to kill each other.
But he was investing in you.
Every day. He also taught me to drink whiskey, which my father would not have approved of.
No, I expect not. So you're 89. You don't have any more than 10 years left.
You keep stretching that out.
What are you afraid of at 89?
I am afraid now. I am afraid that I'm going to continue living and get weaker and weaker because I've lost so much strength. And what if I just keep deteriorating?
Right.
And so I can't work.
Right. Afraid of getting to the point that you can't work.
What would I do, Scott?
That you can think, that you can talk, but you can't work.
No, it makes me hurt.
You bet it does. Yeah. Yeah. My dad, you and I have talked about that a lot. You're in a lot better shape than my dad.
But you see, I don't think he feels that.
No, different personality. Different personality. But I'll tell you what, he has become, I don't think I've told you this. A couple weeks ago, so my dad has dementia, and he lives here with us. Properly, we live in his house. It's our house, and he's been having some hallucinations. And he said, I've just realized I've been a jerk for the last 10 years. Did I tell you he said that?
No.
He was on that for a few days. Has it been longer than 10 years? I said, Dad, that's all behind. That's all behind. There's nothing to think of there, okay? Anyhow.
What was he thinking?
I'm not sure what was triggering this.
But you don't know.
And I didn't drill in. He's got dementia. You know, it's not fair.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that it wouldn't have been
It was pretty uncomfortable for me, and I don't know if
Yeah,
he was
but
thinking about. I don't know if he was thinking about with mom, or what. I don't know.
But I would have almost had to have found out what his retrospect thinking was, where it was going.
He's fractured enough. It's hard for him to articulate anything, you know.
But that he was articulating something.
He was articulating something. What advice would you give young men? 2025, a completely different world than the one that you lived in and came to maturity in. What advice would you give young men?
Well, it's trite. But the only thing I could really say is find something that you enjoy doing and then learn to do it well. I've had so many different jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed every stinking one of them.
Every one of them
Yeah.
had something in it that you just loved doing.
Well, you've been in the woods. What better thing can you do than get up at daylight on a crisp, cold morning in the mountains and take a big old chainsaw out and rupture the silence of the world and butcher trees?
Yeah. Devastation. and your only concern is you don't break the log and you don't get killed. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
What greater pleasure is it to be out on the same kind of morning horseback, working your way down through a misty trail, and all of a sudden, as if by magic, here's 40 head of elk.
Materialize.
They just come out of nowhere. They're not moving. They're not going anywhere. All of a sudden, it just seems like they just appear, and they're just browsing and eating there. And 2 seconds later, you weren't aware of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you can hear them munching, and you can see them, and
You're in there with them.
And that's glorious.
Or working the cattle with a good dog like Skippy. Skippy?
Skibby.
Yeah. You know, watching a dog like that do exactly what you want to have happen.
And not even tell him.
Don't have to say a word. He just goes to work like any other good hand.
Yeah. Or even running the cat, being out there on a frosty morning and being your fingers so cold you go and stand in front of the fan for 5 minutes and thaw out.
Thaw 'em out. So let me put some words in your mouth that the advice you may be articulating, young men, is learn to love to work. And if you can, find some work that's easy to learn to love. But you can learn to love work for work's own sake. Well, Si, I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough. And you're probably down to only 5 or 6 more years now. But keep it on it, man. 90 is not the target. 90 is just another milestone.
That was your target.
I know. We moved the goalpost.
7 or 8 years ago.
We moved the goalpost. We can do that. I can't thank you enough for everything you've taught me. What a great friend.
Well, you've been a good friend, Scott.
Well, so life can bring you these things. That's probably the best advice, is value friendship. And in order to value and receive friendship, you got to learn how to be a friend. It's one thing Si knows, along with a lot of other great things. Thanks.
And you always say, keep up the good work.
I know, I'm having a hard time getting it out. Thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.